Yeah.
Oh, we only had one? Yeah, we only have had one, haven't we? All right.
Yeah. Here we go.
So, hey, Storm Freaks, it's Phil. It's episode 187, and our guest is Weather Channel field reporter Charles Peak. He's got a new streaming series just released.
My name is Charles Peak, and I track storms for a living. I've been all over the country hunting down everything from hailstones to hurricanes. And while that's my passion, sometimes it's the little things I find along the way that stick with me forever. Hop in and buckle up as we drive across America together. This is Peak Travels.
Hey, can't wait to talk about that. We also got our hashtag Weather Fools and WX resources to share. And it's all right here on Stormfront Freaks Live.
Going green. Greenwich. Saddling up. You got it, boss.
Welcome to the most entertaining weather show. This is the award-winning Stormfront Freaks Live. I want to say a special thanks to our Patreon teammates. They're scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now. But thanks for supporting the show. You can join our team as well. You can get access to all these great features, including one of the neat things that I love that we just started doing is we now have this exclusive Facebook group where you can interact. I mean, we've got the co-hosts, all of our co-hosts tonight. They're all on there. We've got some of our past guests like Ginger Z, Ryan Hall, Michael Binsky, Dr. Philip Klotzbach, and over 50 other past guests. You got to check that out. We've got a number of tiers. They each kind of have their own little exclusives, but you can help support our show for as little as $5 a month, and you can find out more details at stormfrontfreaks.com. Hey, if you're new to the show, one of the things we like to do is we like to introduce the co-hosts that are with us tonight. But if you've witnessed the show before, you know it's always happy hour. We like to drink on this show, and it just kind of lets you know we like to have a little fun while we talk weather and not take ourselves too seriously. But let's go around the horn, find out who's at the bar tonight. Dina Knightley, who is our meteorologist and producer at the Weather Channel Digital. Dina, tell us what you got tonight. What are you drinking?
I have a mango vodka and cranberry, and it is so good. It's a Ciroc. I think that's how you pronounce it, but a Ciroc mango vodka with cranberry.
Is that new?
Yum.
It's
Did
new
you just
for
find
me.
it, or okay?
Yeah. Party with the neighbors, and they were making it for me, and now I have to have it all the time.
Very nice. Meteorologist Serena Arnold. Serena, I heard you maybe have something special tonight.
I do. I brought a weather beer like I always do, but today I found one in kind of an ode to Charles and to our Chase and Clovis. This is called Miles and Miles.
Oh, nice.
That's cute.
And it's from a local brewery even. I got one close, so that was nice.
That's perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Jen Watson, meteorologist at the Weather Channel. Jen, what are you drinking? Any water? What?
No coffee. I'm drinking coffee to keep me awake. But I wish I was drinking what Dina has. Dina, I think
good.
that's
I'll make you one.
Yes,
Not
I
that
want
far
one.
away.
Jenny, drinking just black, or is it there any creamer in there, or?
Oh, there is a little French vanilla creamer in there. It's exciting.
Good.
Is it
Not going too
alcoholic
crazy in there.
creamer?
Not going-
I need
Baileys.
to. I need to get some Kahlua in there. Yeah.
All right, meteorologist Brady Harris. Brady, what do you got? What are you drinking?
Yeah, it's summer, so I'm going with a little high noon, a little seltzer. I tried to create a cocktail with this over the weekend that just completely failed. So don't ever try and create cocktails with high noon because they suck, apparently.
What is it? I don't even know what high noon is.
High noon is like White Claw, but better. Like it is. So White Claw, they make it's like a wheat or something in their beer. This is like straight vodka. So this is the good stuff.
Does it have a fizz to it?
Yeah. Wait, you've never had high noon, Dina? What?
Fizzy vodka.
Dina, I'm gonna change your life. Go to the store and get high noon. It'll change. If you like White Claw, this is like way better.
Okay.
All right,
like
and I'm
it.
finishing my Mountain Dew and Ocean vodka tonight. I call it the Crazy Plane. Of course, we've got MJ in the back running the show. But let's go ahead and get to our guest. Jen, I'll leave you the honors.
Yes, I'm so excited. So, other than being just an incredibly amazing human being, Charles Peak is a professional storm chaser, an independent reporter for the Weather Channel. He travels across the country chasing many different types of weather. You can see Charles on the new series Peak Travels, available on the Weather Channel streaming app. And Charles, I am so excited you're here. It is such an honor. And I've worked at the Weather Channel, just so everyone knows, in some kind of form or fashion since 2014. And I've only met Charles twice, seen him twice, because he hardly is at the headquarters because he's traveling all over. So, Charles, first tell us a little bit about, how you got into storm chasing and then eventually working for the Weather Channel.
Well, my interest in weather has been pretty much my whole life. I joined the Navy back in 1982 and went in to go to school for meteorology. But I got sidetracked a little. I got selected to be in the Presidential Honor Guard in Washington, D.C. And so I did that and sort of went a different path for a while, but always loved the weather. And then from a photography standpoint, finally about 2012, I started going out and photographing storms and then really started chasing it more in 13 and 14. And then in 16 got real serious about it, and then and really full time at that point in time, and was mainly doing it freelance. And then in 2018 signed a contract with the Weather Channel and been full time with them since.
My gosh, I love it. And you've seen some incredible weather, and we've had you like reporting from every end of the country. But I do have to ask, what is that photo behind you on your mantle? Is that a special storm, a special chase?
Well, it is. It's one of the pictures that went viral for me. I called it at the time a clash of the Titans, because initially when I was looking at it, I thought it was two supercells colliding there. It's what it sort of looked like. But it actually, when I went back and really analyzed it on radar, found it was the back side of it. And so one is cyclonic, one is anticyclonic.
Wow.
Caught the lightning bolt there, and there's a little house on the side there, and it turns out, because it went viral all over social media and everything, the pastor of a local church called me and asked if there was a way he could get that. The man that lived in that house, unfortunately, 1 year prior to that, to the day, had been in an accident with one of his neighbors on one of those non-signed intersections, and unfortunately killed his neighbor. And so they wanted to use this picture as a way that God is still in the midst of the storms, and it's just a way of encouragement for him. I obviously didn't know that story when I took the picture, didn't know that was his house or anything with that, but it's interesting sometimes to see the other things, sometimes out of tragedy, that there still can be positive aspects that you can see.
Wow.
And a year to the day.
Yeah.
That's like divine intervention, right?
Yes.
Like,
That's crazy.
wow.
So Charles, you've been working for the Weather Channel for a couple years. I don't see you much because I'm on the digital side, but of course I know who you are. But what is your favorite type of weather to chase? Is it severe?
Well, it's almost all the above. Needless to say, to be out in the open fields with a mothership supercell putting down a tornado, that'll never get old. But I honestly enjoy the mix of everything. I enjoyed covering the winter storms. Me and Cantori were up, I guess, a year and a half. Well, yeah, a year and a half ago almost. 81 inches of snow in Buffalo. That's just incredible. The hurricanes bring the whole tropical aspect to it. And then even the flooding. One of the things that I have found, that I have the privilege with the Weather Channel to have a platform that if I can help tell the people's stories that have been impacted by these disasters, then I have a platform that can help bring help for them. Our viewers, our Americans, we respond to people when we see them in need. And if I can help them tell that story, let them know what they're really going through, then our viewers will respond to different aid organizations, maybe volunteer to go help. And so I find, in a weird way, a sense of joy. I hate what's going on in some of those cases. I'm telling my wife I've been crying and hugging more than I have in a long time. But to me, that's not enough. What else can I do? And so I try to help by telling those stories to bring help back to them. In some cases, I go back to those aid organizations myself and volunteer and help. I went back to Rolling Fork and spent a few days. My wife went there for a week this time, and try to come back and do what we can to help the people that have been impacted.
And Charles, I mean, when you're in, like obviously when you're chasing a tornado, there's all this adrenaline and but the aftermath that, I'm sure you have to go to a lot of times. What is that like? Like to tell those people's stories, you almost have to get into their lives, understand exactly what happened. And to do that, I mean, that's got to weigh, on you and whoever is there covering it, right?
Sure. In Wynne, Arkansas this year, the week after Rolling Fork, unfortunately, when I got on the scene of one situation, there were some family members yelling and screaming, and their family member, I had to get down and actually check her pulse and let them know that she had not made it. And, we were able to find something to cover her up, and then we still had search and rescue to go as we were trying to find a owner of a convenience store as well. And to say that doesn't impact you, I wouldn't be human if I said that. It does. But, for me to be able to, and this is just my personal perspective, it's not the Weather Channel's, to me to be able to sit there with the family members in that midst and be able to hug them and pray with them, to give them some comfort just a little bit in that time. I feel like there's something inside me that helps me deal with it, to know I've helped them just a little.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. I feel like there's a story behind the story in this almost. Was there a turning point or an impactful event that made you say, this is why I want to do storytelling. This is why I need to dive into this?
There really wasn't. It was one of those deals. Initially, it was all about the photography part of it, the storm, and wasn't interested in it, didn't think about it. But as that evolved and went on, and then I guess there was one event in 2017, my wife had a business meeting up in Branson, Missouri, and I went with her, but we took our chase vehicle because there was going to be severe weather that night, and we went out and chased. The next morning, we were finishing it up about 8 o'clock in the morning, and my next door neighbor called and said, "Your house is on fire." And
wow.
So my wife is going, "What?" Because I just said it like that. Well, our house is on fire. And so we drove to get back there. And long story short, we basically lost everything.
My God.
Lightning, believe it or not, lightning struck the tree just outside of our house, and it went through, it smoldered, and it took like 6 hours before it burst into flames. And there were times, we'd been married, I think 36 years at that time. And, it's just stuff. We were okay. But, it's our stuff. And there were times that we just hugged each other and cried, and it was a very emotional, impactful event for us. But that helped me realize to have more empathy for people in these situations. I mean, it's easy when somebody's died. I mean, how can you not have empathy and sympathy for them? But for somebody, a business owner has just lost their business to a flood or to a tornado, it gives me a different perspective when I'm walking up to talk to them. And honestly, sometimes I set the camera down and I don't get that story. It's just important to try to comfort them, give them hopefully some compassion. And I've found sometimes it's been interesting after I've walked away, they've come back to me and said, hey, I'll do that story for you now, and so my style is not to just stick a camera in somebody's face. That's just not the role.
That's just kindness.
Yeah.
And so, I'm going to talk to the people and try to help where I can. And then if it allows me to tell the story, of course, in many cases, what I'm trying to explain to them, I'm not looking to sensationalize their story, but maybe there's a lesson that we can tell, especially one question I ask all the time is, what would you do differently now that you've gone through this? Now, I already know the answer. It's going to be, well, I would have paid attention to the warning. But I do feel like if I can get it from somebody who's just experienced it, that's different than us talking heads trying to tell them, pay attention to the warning. Somebody that might make a difference, somebody that could save a life somewhere if they'll listen to that person and go, yeah, I realize it's probably not going to happen, but let's go ahead and get in our safe spot.
Yeah. And Charles, kind of switching bases a little bit. So I think we have a lot of chasers that are, that follow our show, and we saw you out chasing out in New Mexico. Yeah. And I was curious, like, do you have, so going from kind of being a storm chaser where you can kind of make your own decisions independent, and now you're with the Weather Channel, or you've been with the Weather Channel. Like when you're out chasing, do you still get like, hey, I want to go chase this storm, I want to go chase that storm? Do you still, obviously maybe with like winter weather, it's probably a little bit different. But do you still get kind of autonomy in that? This is my target area and everything?
Yeah, it's all my decisions on where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. Yeah. We'll communicate from that perspective. Sometimes it may be, does it make sense to go out to this area? What else do we have going on in programming or something like that? Mm-hmm. But it's never going to be as far as what I'm chasing, where I'm going, what I'm doing in any of them. It's 100% my decision on.
That's cool.
From a safety perspective, I see it, I'm looking at it, and can make those decisions, and it's all on me if it's not the right decision. And I will say they're very supportive. So, as you know, sometimes you don't go to the right storm. Mm-hmm. Hey, that was a lot of blue sky there.
And then you look and go, look at the radar.
Or you don't get out in the, or you almost don't get out. Remember that storm we were on where the hail? What was the town we were in? That got crushed by hail. We were
just talking about
saw you.
Elida.
Yes, Elida. That literally got like 2 inches of hail, and we, Greg wanted to stay there and take photos.
I carry crash wrap with me because periodically I may lose a windshield. And so I was able to help a family. There was a family there that had a little about 16-month-old child. The hail came through the back window, and he had whelps all over him. And my wife was there with the mother and everything. So really felt terrible for that young child, but we were able to put some crash wrap on the back of their window and help them out. And then there happened to be also a meteorologist that just graduated from Mississippi State and was out on a chase trip with his wife. Mm-hmm. And they lost their back windshield as well there. So a few casualties of war there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Charles, I want to talk about your other half, Kathy, because I met her at the National Storm Chaser Summit, and you two are just incredible. And I know with, being a storm chaser myself, not nearly hardly as much as you do, but I am sure, you got to have a very tight relationship, partnership. How often does she go storm chasing with you? Does she help you when you do your shoots for the Weather Channel? How does that all work?
Well, she gets to go occasionally. It's not often. I got home last Thursday. I'd been gone for 4,000 miles in the previous 8 days. And it looked like Friday morning I was going to get to be home for the weekend. And so I called her and let her know she was at work. We were excited. Okay, we'll get to spend the weekend together. By 2:00 in the afternoon, I'm calling her going, I got to leave. Do you want me to wait for you? And to give you an example how accommodating the Weather Channel is, I said, she's got to be back to work on Monday. I said, I would like to take her with me, so that we can at least spend some time together in the car. And they were fine, said, do whatever you need to do. We appreciate you being out there. And so we went to mainly Illinois and finished up in Indiana, and then drove back on Sunday. And so she takes a week in May, which she was with me when she saw y'all, and she'll go on what she calls her chasecation. And
love it.
And awesome. So she'll go, and then there's occasionally, if there's some kind of weekend or close type situation where it would work out with her work schedule. She did the first time she was with me, and Cantori was out there. She did have to be late getting back to work so she could have breakfast with Jim. So, that was her first time to meet him. So she had to make that sacrifice.
That's not a bad excuse, though. Like, why you're like, well, I had to have breakfast with Jim Cantori. Like, nobody would worry about that.
That's right.
Exactly.
So Charles, how many weeks do you think you're out chasing of the year? It's got to be hard if you're on the road a lot.
Yeah, golly, I've not figured that out. I figure I'm in a hotel about 175 nights a year.
Wow.
I'm gone more than I'm home. And we'll do approximately 75,000 miles, most of it driving. Occasionally in a pinch, I may have to fly to a tropical situation, in Florida or something that's, I don't have time to drive down there. But, and with that, back to you, Jen, I'm just so blessed to have a wife that, that she, all 5 of our grandkids live within 20 minutes. So that makes a difference. But, that also means mowing the yard and all those other things. Even though she's got a full-time job, she's holding down all those other aspects. And it's just such a blessing to have somebody like her in my life. And,
Aww.
we'll have 41 years marriage this August. So
nice.
I love that. Congratulations.
Awesome. Yes.
So, you guys got to kill it at weddings when they're like, all right, 30 years, 35 years. Killing it.
We can beat that. We can beat it.
Yep. Love that.
So, Charles, do you have a hotel brand you like to stay at? I'm sure you're probably racking up the points.
I do. I stay a lot at the Hiltons and the Marriotts. A lot's changed through COVID. And so we don't get as many of the benefits as we did before. But in a lot of cases when you're not even, I don't even know a lot of times at 8:00 at night what state I'm going to stay in. And so sometimes it's finding whatever you can find and everything, but we try to do that. And then what we'll do sometimes, the Weather Channel is wonderful and lets me go on some other adventurous type things. And my wife will take off with me. We'll do a lot of times. We go every year to the International Balloon Fiesta out in Albuquerque and cover it.
Oh, that's
beautiful.
Yeah. And then she'll actually get a press pass. And so she can go up in the balloon and get us footage up from the balloons and everything while I stay on the ground and do all that. And then we'll usually tie that in several years to Fall Colors up in Colorado. And so then we'll go either before or after and get us footage from the Fall Colors. And so we'll have fun doing that. And so a lot of times in that situation, I can't really convince them we need a whole week there to do that. So I'll get
you do. I think you do.
So I'll do it for a few days and then we'll use some of those points and stay for a few extra days and just enjoy it. And invariably I still get footage we end up using, but that's okay. So
wow.
You take more video than photos, I would assume now with Weather Channel's more video.
Yeah, okay. It's I'm still photography's sort of my first love, but I can go weeks at a time and not even have a chance to really take a picture and stuff. So if we're doing live, even like on tornadoes, sometimes it's hard to jump out of the vehicle to get a picture because if we're live on the tornado and, unless it's coming straight at you, it keeps moving. And so you got to keep adjusting the camera to keep it, and depending on how far it is, the zoom, you have to do that quite often. And so sometimes, it's a little frustrating. You get this beautiful tornado in the middle of a field and it's hard to even get out and get a picture of it.
Dina knows about that. If it weren't for Dina, we wouldn't even have a picture of the one we saw.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Not familiar at all.
So Charles,
and I'm like, Brady, put your head down.
Freaking! I'm like, whoa, it's out there.
So Charles, I have a question about gear. Like, what is the storm, tracker gear that you can't live without? And tips for other storm trackers too. You've seen it all. You've traveled all over. What are the key things that you always remember?
Well, the key thing for me is the vehicle. It's not just that I live in it, it seems like, but I've got, a 2000 watt inverter built into it that, you're powering up batteries and your computer and the cameras and stuff like that. And I've got lights built on it so that, a lot of times at night or say in a winter storm, a lot of times at night, if you're driving, you can't hardly see anything, but if you turn some lights on, you can actually see the snow and stuff. So it helps in that aspect. And then the other thing, for me, is that dash camera, because we use it so much, making sure I've got all my connections that go into what we call a live view unit, a broadcast unit that has bonded cell phone technology, and it's sometimes it's difficult trying to remember all the cables and stuff, because occasionally you need to fly somewhere. So I've got to take all that out of the vehicle, put it in luggage to fly. And then you hope that, when you get back, that you got all the cables that you need, all that kind of stuff. So it's a little chaotic, but and then the key thing that for me too is having, even though it's a passenger big expedition, is good tires. I see a lot of storm chasers out there that, have maybe skimped on the tires, let them get a little bald, and you can get in some dangerous situations, just on the road, just with the heavy rainfall, that those tires make a big difference, especially if you have to get off-road, which I'm sure y'all found yourself a little off-road out there. And,
our first trip, we found ourselves hydroplaning a little bit a couple of times as we tried to core punch. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
And Greg was yelling hydroplaning over the radio, and we were just freaking out.
White knuckled on the steering wheel? No idea. No, I don't remember it all, Brady. We're good.
Charles, I have one question to just jump off Jen. So I know when we were out, say in Clovis and way out in the middle of, fields, there was times we didn't get good data like 5G or, what's the best thing that you found for internet connect? Like I would lose my connection, then I couldn't get maps or weather data.
Sure. Out in those areas, it's really important. And if you ever come up with a good answer for that, please let me know. I'm still looking to.
I was hoping you had the secret sauce, but
I've spent thousands of dollars on different cell phone amplifiers, and they help marginally. I have one in the vehicle that helps marginally. The biggest thing that I do is I carry MiFi packs for multiple cell phone carriers. So I've got both AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint T-Mobile. But you'll still, in some of those rural areas out there, nobody's putting cell phone towers up.
Because there's times where like I had AT&T and Brady had some, and like we would have to kind of bounce off each other.
It was like we were alternating. It's like I had connection, Dina wouldn't, and then Dina would have connection and I wouldn't. And
I'm yelling at Brady, let me on your Wi-Fi.
It's the strangest thing.
I've also found that some of the MiFi packs, as with about anything, the more expensive ones are a little better. And so, I have to invest in getting the quality stuff that I need out there, and pay for those data plans for multiple carriers so that, I can do everything within my power to have it as much. The other thing I try to remember before I go out there, a little tip for us, is when you're on Wi-Fi, if you've got like Google Maps, you can download that while you have Wi-Fi so that at least you still have your maps will work, because the GPS will work even if you don't have data. And so, I try to remember to do that. If I'm potentially going to be in a case where I'm going to lose data, then at least I have the maps that'll still work.
That's a good tip, Charles. That I don't think a lot of people realize you can do that. But so obviously, if you live anywhere near a tropical storm, which probably most of those areas along the coast probably have pretty good cell coverage. But the problem is you got to make sure that this storm season doesn't catch you unprepared. So whether your home is wood, it's concrete, maybe it's brick, we trust and recommend windstormproducts.com for all your hurricane hardware needs and for your storm shutter needs. So just go to Windstorm Products. It's the world's largest online distributor of hurricane hardware and shutter installation tools. They even offer a $5 flat rate shipping to all states. Just visit windstormproducts.com now. Make sure you do it before you forget and the next storm is knocking down your door. So Windstorm Products, it's one-stop hurricane hardware shop and the official supplier of the Stormfront Freaks. So, hey, we're going to take a quick little break for a new Storm Chaser safety clip, and we'll be right back with more from Charles.
It's time time for this edition of Stormfront Freaks podcast, Storm Chaser Safety Tip.
Join retired Fire Battalion Chief Randy Denzer, EMA Director Eddie Aldring, and Police Officer Eric Fox as we discuss some of the most common storm chaser safety pitfalls to avoid. All right, so we're talking storm chaser safety tips. I'm with Randy Denzer. He's a retired Fire Battalion Chief with over 30 years in fire service and a current storm spotter and public safety director for the Spotter Network. We also have Eddie Aldring. He's a former law enforcement officer, current storm chaser, and director of emergency management for Nemaha County in Kansas. And also Eric Fox, current police officer in Davis, Oklahoma, and a field correspondent for Weather Nation TV. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on. We want to talk a little bit with essential car tools. So talking a lot about preparation, really, not a little. What are some essential car tools that someone should be thinking about and making sure they have in their vehicle? Eric, I'm going to start with you.
The main thing I could think of is a battery backup, right? The one thing is our lifeline is going to be that cell phone. But if you have a car issue or if you get stuck somewhere and you can't get a phone call out to get some help because your battery's dead because we've been on radar all day, it's just something I can think of is my number one is having that extra brick of power that might get you 5 or 6 charges on your phone to get you that help if something happens. You get stuck in the mud, you get broke down, whatever, alternators go out, you may not have power to charge that phone. So that's my number one. My number two item is definitely going to be a way to get your cell phone stuck, i.e. being straps or ways to get out of that mud.
All right, Eddie, I'll go to you next. What might be a number one essential car tool you would want to make sure was in your vehicle?
One thing I carry in my truck when I chase, it's in any tool store, Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those, will have is sort of I call them like a vehicle first aid kit. Has jumper cables, things to change tires with, fix a flat, deals if you know how to use those. Various other tools in those things that can definitely help you repair your car and get you back on the road again. And they actually really aren't too terribly expensive. You can get a very minor one up to a very expensive one that has just about everything you need in it. So that's the main thing that I would recommend everyone get.
Very good. Randy, what have we missed? What's some important car tools or a car tool you'd want to have?
Well, I'll tell you the number one tool I'd have for safety would be a ANSI traffic vest. I can't say enough that you can't be seen at night unless you're wearing one. It doesn't matter if you're wearing white clothing, those reflective vests that they sell at Walmart for like $20, $25, something like that. I keep one in the back of my car all the time. If something happens at night and I need to get out, whether it's pulling into a disaster or whether my car breaks down, I have that vest so that people can't see me. That would be my number one tool.
I would say also a flashlight. We all know that we're usually chasing into the darkness. Having at least some sort of a flashlight. The ones on our phones, they're not going to cut it. They can not only be used for yourself, it could also be a way to signal people if you're stuck or injured or roll up onto someone that's in trouble.
Very good. Thanks, gentlemen.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
All right, welcome back. So apparently Brady's hungry. I guess that...
Yeah, I mean, come on. I didn't even have time. You played that. I didn't even have time to get a snack. What are we doing?
All right, so we're here with Charles Peak. And Charles, here's what I want to know. So we've had, you mentioned Jim Cantori. We've had him on a few times. Here's what I want to know. Next time we have him on, I'm going to ask him about some extra special Charles Peak stories. But I'm going to ask you what's the best Cantori story that no one has ever asked you about?
Well, I can't tell you.
Okay, give us a tease.
Okay, I'll give you one that's a little different. It always amazes me with Jim when I end up getting teamed up with him, usually in a tropical system, sometimes winter. But the joke is always out there. We don't want to see you here. You don't want him here. But can I get a picture with you? And Jim will be literally trying to prep. I remember one time we were in a restaurant and he's trying to plan for the next day, and you just got a line around him, people wanting pictures and stuff. And then I'm standing there, and finally, you see this lady over here and she's got her phone up trying to record everything Jim's doing. And he's trying to talk about the next day. And finally he's going, Pete, can you move over there and stand just enough to block it, But, and so he's trying to do his business. But, the other thing, he will sit there and stay for extended periods of time to sign autographs, to get pictures with them and do that. And, Jim's a crazy dude. Jen, I know, will testify to that. He's crazy. But, man, he is with a big heart. I will tell you one thing, that in Hurricane Ian this last year, I was driving around in Punta Gorda, and this lady stopped me. And she said, hey, are you with the Weather Channel? I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, my husband literally just got out of the hospital. He's home on hospice 5 days before this hurricane hit, and said it would mean everything. He's heard Jim Cantori's here in town. It would mean the world to him if he got to meet him. And I said, well, ma'am, I can't make any promises. He's working in a different location right now. I'll see what I can do. And so I sent his producer a text before I left that location. And then we ended up back at the hotel that night, and me and his producer and Jim were all in a room visiting and stuff. And I said, hey, Steve, did you get a chance? Oh, we got busy. I haven't told him. So I told Jim the story, and his first response, Pete, can you get me there? And I said, I think I can. I think I can figure out where the house is. And so he says, first thing in the morning, go over there and see if you can find that house. I got to go there to see him. And so ultimately I was able to find the house, and just a sad situation, but it meant the world to this man lying in this bed that just went through a hurricane, to be able to meet Jim Cantori. And Jim stood there and talked with him for probably 20 or 30 minutes because that's just the kind of guy he is.
That's a sweet story.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great story. He is incredible.
All right. So I've got a question then. So you guys do such great things out there, like your storm chasing, which we all love, but there's this really great humanitarian side to what you do and Jim and everybody else. There's probably a lot of people here saying, I wish I could make an impact like that. I wish I could do something similar. What's a good first step for people? Because we know they should just go rush into search and rescues without having training. Eric Fox can tell you that, right?
Sure.
So what can people do who do want to, be more involved while they're out chasing?
Well, I think in a lot of cases, a simple thing, while they are chasing, you still, in a lot of cases, can do something. Most chasers don't end up right on that scene right at the beginning. But if you do, if nothing else, you can give that person some comfort while you're waiting for first responders to show. As you said with Eric, I was in a situation on one of them after Rolling Fork over in Silver City, and you had a gentleman that was completely underneath all kinds of rubble. You could just see his head. He was okay, but I could talk to him. But I knew, because all the first responders for that city had responded to Rolling Fork, so it took longer than normal. But I don't want to try to move him or anything, because it could be more harmful. So you do what you can. You try to comfort where you can. But I think also I would almost love to see any of our storm chasers. I told a professor at a meteorology school, I'd love to see it for our meteorology students, that they have to go spend a week at one of these aid organizations, going in after a disaster and just working, helping these people, because, ultimately everything we do, it's about the people. We love the weather about it, but it's how does this weather impact people? And I think, if you've never had a chance to do that, there's several organizations out there that you can do it with. And to go in there to a homeowner you're cleaning the mud out and you're cleaning all the stuff and they're in tears, and you just realize how impactful these events are on the people. And I think that's something that I'd love to see every storm chaser, every meteorologist try to work into their schedule where they could.
I couldn't agree more, Charles. I know a lot of chasers have water, and a lot of people say after, seeing the devastation of a natural disaster, socks, clothes, and even Phil made branded, water bottles with like first aid kits in them and everything else. So
carry one of those in my vehicle.
Yeah, they're incredible. They're wonderful. And kind of in a different kind of side of things, you've been chasing for, several years. Have you seen any trends, whether it's with the chasers, whether it's just the storms in general, people taking shelter? Have you seen anything that you're just alarmed by, or you're like, that's interesting from a perspective that maybe nobody else has seen firsthand before?
Well, one thing that bothers me, worries me a little, is we have a lot of newer chasers, and they want to do it the same way maybe the very experienced chasers are. And some of our very experienced chasers, this whole concept of zero metering.
Yeah, I was about to say the exact. I knew that's where you're going.
And then ultimately, personally, I don't think it's safe for anybody.
Charles, can you explain? Because there might be some people that don't understand what zero metering is. What is zero metering?
Zero metering is the concept of I want to be literally 0 meters from the tornado. And in most cases, the tornado does what we think it's going to do, but not always. And when you're getting that close, I feel like personally that's not leaving you much room of margin. And for the more experienced chasers, they can maybe read some of that and get themselves in a safe spot, respond to it. But if you don't have that experience, you may not catch that. And we've had several in this year, storm chasers that were too close and literally had their vehicles picked up and thrown, a couple of them in Rolling Fork. Couple of them, we've had several of them where they literally had their vehicles picked up and thrown, and fortunately nobody's been killed in that situation. But it just concerns me with this need to get that close to the tornado. Now, my philosophy on it, they're all adults. I'm not their dad or their police. They can do what they want to with me, but it still concerns me because I care about them as people.
I think people forget too, the most popular people that are kind of doing this that everyone sees in the videos, they have armored cars. A lot of them they're in these tanks on the road, and then people are like, oh, we can do the same thing, and they're just in like a CRV Toyota or whatever, and they're just driving it. Like it's just not going to work, guys. So I totally get it.
One of them that got thrown that was too close was in a Prius this year. So
wow. Oh my God.
Not a whole lot of metal around.
I think I could lift it.
It goes back, Charles, to what you were talking about, downloading those maps when you don't have cell coverage, because I know that was an instance for at least one of those individuals that they just got disoriented from their GPS. They weren't kind of figuring out where they were visually. They were looking on their phone trying to figure out where they were, and didn't basically were disoriented because they weren't getting the maps downloaded and set up right.
Yeah, it's important, and to try to keep it, especially if it's at night, that even makes that much, much more difficult. Personally, for me, when I was in the military, I had a bomb dog. I went into the buildings, everybody else is leaving. It's not a fear factor for me, but it's just a safety thing that, I can't become the news. I need to be there to report on it. And so trying to give that extra element of margin to be able to see it. But, different people are driven by different things. And, like I say, I may have a personal feeling on that, but everybody makes their own decisions. But that is still something that concerns me,
Yeah, absolutely, Charles. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ray.
I was gonna say, why do you think that is? Charles, why do you think people because I think zero metering is you're right. It's a problem. And I've just seen more and more people, and now I feel like the content creation for meteorology is kind of taking off. People are realizing there's a lot of money in it. So people are trying to get the best shot. People are trying to get the most creative shot. Is there a way to police it, and obviously probably not, but can we do anything about that? Or
my personal opinion is no. People are going to do what they want to do. You can't really legislate anything there because I mean it's driving on the roads. I did talk to a friend of mine who is well respected in there, and we were talking about it, and I said, I don't feel like social media is the place to try to do it, but maybe one-on-one to the people that may respect you, you may have an opportunity to, at least try to give a little insight, little thoughts there that might influence them some. But, for the most part, it's we're just driven. Many of the chasers are just driven to be as close and as extreme as they can possibly get.
Driven by adrenaline. Yeah.
Well, or driven by social media now. I was talking to one of the social media chasers not long ago, and we were talking about it was going to be a day with big hail and how I was going to try to avoid. I do my best to avoid that. It's just money wasted when you lose a windshield, And his point was, well, not for social media. That's where you get a bunch more coming in. They love that. And so I think there's that aspect of with now more, with different avenues of being able to show your chasing. What makes you popular, what makes them give money to you, those types of things are driving them in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Charles. And really quick, thinking about chasing and everything else, has there been a situation that you've been in that like you learned from? You're like, wow, I shouldn't be here. I made a mistake. Has there been a sticky situation that you're just, I will never do that again?
Yeah, I was in a situation. We'd been on several tornadoes. It was one of my wife's chase cases. She was with her. We were up by Canadian, Texas, and a road had been shut off there to flooding. And then so, we came back, we did some things, and we were moving that way. Well, it had opened back up. And so we get there, and there's a line of traffic, and we look down, and there's a fire truck down at the front. And all of a sudden he pulls through, and all the traffic starts going. There's 18 wheelers, everything. And then before we know it, we've got water coming over the hood of my vehicle. A Cheshire Drawers comes and hits the vehicle. At one point in time, literally the vehicle was floating some and with no deal. And this went on for probably 3/4 of a mile, and finally trying to push a wake and get through. There wasn't any way I could turn around and go back. But I made the mistake of assuming, because that fire truck was going through there and going on, that meant that road was clear. And I should have specifically myself checked on it. I did send the footage to the chief of the fire department so that he could maybe do a little additional training with that officer to realize how people would interpret what he did. But ultimately, that's my responsibility to make sure it's safe, and I didn't do that.
All right, I've got one more question for you, Charles. I want to know a little bit about this Peak Travels series. What's that all about, and where's it at?
Well, what's going on there is the idea. Chris Warren and I were one of our on-camera meteorologists. Were talking several years ago, and he said, "You got some beautiful photography. You see some wonderful parts of this country. We ought to do a segment with you periodically, where you can talk about where you're at and show some of the beauty of that." And I see a lot of death and destruction from the weather, but this country has some amazingly beautiful parts to it and some very interesting things. And I just naturally, because my love of photography, I'm out there capturing a lot of that anyway. And so one thing led to another. And then with our streaming app, we had a series that we started last year. It'll come back probably during hurricane season, called Tracking Charles, where it's more of the storm tracking side of the things there with the hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff. But then we just debuted a couple of weeks ago this Peak Travels, and it's more of a beauty situation, interesting parts as I see about the country, because I get on my social media. Some are telling me at times, some people going, we'd never see this if it wasn't for what you're showing us here, because I don't have the ability to travel. And so that's the concept behind it. They're sort of mini 5 to 10 minute long ones. The one that just came out this past Saturday was on the Muskogee Hot Air Balloon Festival. And I'm excited about the one that's coming out this Saturday. I had just a little time after a blizzard in Boston to meet up with my friend John Kutchko in New York. And we went to the Finger Lakes regions with frozen waterfalls. And because of his connections,
Wow.
he was able to get us clearance to fly our drones. And so we did some drone footage of these beautiful frozen waterfalls there in the Finger Lakes region of New York. And so this one's going to have some of John in it and myself, but it's on our TV streaming app. That gets a little confusing because it's not on phones, it's on the TV. And you can go to streamtwc.com to find out how you can get that on your TV. It's on smart TVs, Roku, and other places like that, but it's actually an app on your TV. You can watch live Weather Channel, but it's got an on-demand section there that gives the peak travel section and then some other different things that it'll show up there. And so you can go to the Weather Channel streaming app on the TV and get the peak travels segments there.
All right, Charles, that's the sound. It's time for our lightning round. If you're not familiar, this is our game show of flashy and brilliant questions. We get to play with our guests. We always invite everybody else to play along as well in the chat. Tonight, because we're talking about peak travels, we are going to be playing something called Tornado Alley's Best Sandwiches. All right, so this comes from Food and Wine, and this is the best sandwiches in every state. But we're going to be covering Tornado Alley. Okay, so these are the states that we're including: South Dakota, Nebraska, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Texas. We got to include
New Mexico.
Yeah. Does that Subway in Roswell cover? Is that in there too? Because that had a pretty good sandwich there. You know, that steak and cheese kind of hit the spot.
It wasn't bad, actually. It was.
It wasn't bad.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do, Charles. I'm going to explain this great sandwich, and your key is to tell me what state that this great sandwich is from. Does that make sense?
And if it's giant, it's probably Texas.
Clovis.
State, not city. All right, so here we go. And I always tell the freaks they can pitch in and maybe help you with some ideas if you're struggling as well. But
can I call a friend?
That's kind of what it is. None of the freaks are probably your friend, but we'll let you.
We'll help you out, Charles.
We'll be your friends tonight.
All right, so here's the first one. It was brought to the Great Plains by the Volga Germans. That resettled here. The B-Rock is a filled yeast roll, typically stuffed with beef, cabbage, onions, and seasonings. Can be found in various forms and names throughout this region. But this state seems most intent on keeping the original traditions alive. You can try it old school at M&M, a restaurant dedicated entirely to this local favorite. What state?
Sort of a German descent, doesn't it sound like?
That to me sounds north, though.
100%.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be my guess too.
I'm going to go with Nebraska.
Now, here's what I would say. I'm going to do that first, but I would say Nebraska because that sounds like a runza. That's what it sounds like. If you've had those at Runza chain, that's basically what it sounds like. But that is Kansas.
Oh, wow.
That is Kansas.
Right.
You'd think that would have to be beef, a beef sandwich.
I was going South Dakota, too. I was thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking it's got to be north. But
well, you all would have been wrong. So.
I was thinking Kansas until they influenced me to go further north.
There we go.
Well, Jennifer in the chat said, Nebraska.
Here's the next one. The torta ahogada. It's a crusty torpedo-shaped sourdough burro stuffed with carnitas, freshly emerged from its orange-red chili de árbol sauce bath. I'm pronouncing all this completely wrong, but it's going to haunt your dreams for some time. Go for one. I don't know what that
I feel
means.
like we ate that. Didn't we
Also,
eat
it's
it?
crusty. What kind of sandwiches are
Go
we
for
eating here?
one of the photogenic beauties at the Smart Rojo Pork and Bread, or hit the drive-through at Casual El Chavito. What state?
Man, it seems I'm a little hesitant, but I'm going New Mexico. I mean, it just seems like that's the obvious part.
You have to.
See,
Is it
Texas?
Colorado?
I thought for
Colorado,
sure we passed that in
Yeah,
Clovis,
my guess would be
man.
Colorado.
That would be wrong too. It's Texas. Texas.
Yeah.
Right.
Who
right
knew
on
with
that.
all
I
those
feel
like
like we
Hispanic
ate
names?
that though.
We might have.
We
And I'm from Texas. I've
might
never
have.
had that there.
But it's just not. It must not be known in New Mexico like it is in Texas. I guess. I don't know. All right, next one. You'd expect good things from a place called the Pheasant Restaurant, where they've been at since about the end of the war. So they've been making the sandwich since World War II.
Which war? Yeah,
World War II. Here, the house pheasant salad sandwich is made with chopped apples, cranberries, and roasted pecans, topped with melted Swiss on marble rye toast. What state?
Well, I don't know about the sandwiches, but I know I see a lot of pheasants when I'm in Nebraska. So I'm going to go with Nebraska. Oh, I'm just doing good with this.
You're on a roll here, Charles.
Consistency's important.
And it's toasted.
A lot of pheasants in South Dakota as well,
Yeah.
and that's
really?
that's where this.
I didn't see one.
Interesting.
One.
All right. You'll like this one, Brady. This is going to make you hungry. This state's invention is the deep fried grilled cheese sandwich.
Oh.
This sandwich is known as a Frenchie. You could do all kinds of things with the Frenchie. Of course you
Oh
can.
no! Don't say that,
But
Phil.
we'll take the classic dipped, coated, and fried, which you can get at Don and Millie's, a local chain that any regional fast food connoisseur must visit before they die, possibly from eating too many Frenchies.
Oh my god.
What state, Charles?
That seems like it's a little unique, which tends to go. I'm going to go with Colorado for this one.
I hear there's a lot of Frenchies in Colorado too.
Oklahoma.
This would be Nebraska.
Nebraska.
I finally don't go with
These are tough.
Like I don't think anybody's gotten one of these yet. None of you. I don't think
they're
have gotten
tough.
any of these. All right,
We would have.
we're down to 3 more, and there's only so many states left. So
How many states are left? What do we got left?
3 states. All right, this state sticks by its childhood sweetheart, smoked bologna. Served everywhere from nice restaurants to well-worn counter joints. What's sometimes referred to as this state's tenderloin is an all-state passion. At Jamils, the bologna sandwich is one of the top draws at lunchtime. What state?
Golly.
Since we only have a couple left, I don't know. I'm going Oklahoma.
I've never been a bologna guy, so I don't know. This one doesn't.
Bologna's
Make
good.
What are the states that we have left?
Fried. You said fried bologna, right?
Smoked
Smoked
bologna.
Ooh, yeah.
So we got to add some of that. I think, I think Dina's maybe on that. Let's go with Oklahoma.
Woo!
Yes.
Thank you.
Bingo.
And I happen
Nice.
to say I liked fried bologna.
Yeah, I do.
I've never had it. Now I feel like I'm missing out.
My grandpa used to do it.
Yeah. And that this time of year, I just had one this week. You fry it in a pan. And
Yeah.
fresh homegrown tomato. I mean, man.
It's a hot dog.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
that's what
is.
tastes like.
It's a sliced hot dog.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm not a fan of fried. Maybe fried, I bet might be better, but I don't like eating cold hot dogs. All right, here we go. Carmine Lonardo's Specialty Meats and Deli. It's now operated by Carmine Jr. and other members of the Lonardo family. They do a great sausage sandwich made with provolone and peppers, bathed in marinara. What state?
I think we still have Colorado left.
Sounds like mob.
I know it does. Like
The Leonardo
more
family.
like Brooklyn, New York, but
Yeah. Yeah, New Jersey, would be a good option.
Yeah, it would.
It's not Tornado Alley.
But of the tornado, in Colorado, still an option, right? Is that what?
We have Colorado,
I will
Mexico,
not. I will not confirm nor deny whether.
I'm pretty sure Colorado's still an option. Yeah.
Let's go with Colorado.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah! Woo!
All right, we're on a roll. Here we go. Why did it take so long for everyone to figure out that Asadero cheese works really well on a Reuben, possibly better than Swiss? Make sure to credit slow-roasted bocadillos, where the Duke City Reuben, apparently one of the most popular offerings at this favorite sandwich shop, starts with slow-cooked corned beef topped with house-made sauerkraut and a chipotle-infused dressing. What state?
It's the best sounding
We
sandwich
the one
yet.
left, right?
So let's say it's
One
got to
left.
be New Mexico then.
Yeah, 100%. It's New Mexico.
Yeah.
Clovis. Is that place in Clovis? Did you do that?
I don't know. I don't think it's in Clovis, but they still might have a Duke City Reuben somewhere in Clovis. But anyway, great job with that, Charles. Well done. Let's do this, and you finished strong on that. That was a little sketchy at first.
Yeah, I know.
You finished very
weak
strong.
there.
So I guess tell folks how they can find you on social media, and maybe mention one more time Peak Travels, where that's at.
Yeah, Peak Travels you can find on the Weather Channel streaming app. Go to streamtwc.com and it'll tell you how you can get that app on your TV. And on social media, it's Charles Peak WX, and that will also be on the new Threads. I signed up today, so I'm on Threads as Charles Peak WX, standing for weather there. So that's how you can find me on all those social media platforms.
So we'll have so if you're watching the show, we'll do the audio show won't have this, but we'll do a little raw after show party, and we'll have a little Threads conversation. How's that sound?
Yes.
Get everybody caught up on that. But hey, before we
Migration.
go to break, don't forget you can find us and our merch at helicity.co. So Stormfront Freaks is happy to partner again with the leader in weather geek gear. Helicity.co is back as the exclusive provider of Stormfront Freaks merch. So visit Helicity.co, the weather superstore for the freaks and you. So, all right, we're going to take our final break, and we're going to be right back with our hashtag weather fools and new WX resources.
Ooh.
All right, Brady, now we're on break. Now,
Okay,
now this is a break.
fantastic.
You can talk now.
Oh, love it.
So great job, Charles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Charles,
that was
you're
super
awesome.
fun.
It. Thanks.
You're amazing.
So one of the couple things I want to do, Charles. First off, if you want to stick around for the last couple segments, you're welcome to do so. But if you got to go now, you can go as well. It's up to you.
I'm fine doing whatever if it
Stick around.
helps.
All right. Awesome. So one thing I'm going to have you do is just do a quick little sound bite for us. So if you can just say, where did I got it? Just say, hey, this is field weather reporter Charles Peak, and this is the Stormfront Freaks.
This is the field reporter Charles Peak with the Weather Channel, and this is Stormfront Freaks.
Good.
that
You
close
good with
enough?
that? It's close enough, unless you want to do it again.
Yeah.
I'm fine. You're good. All right.
Phil, I could do it if you want.
Okay, Brady. 3,
Okay.
2. No, I'm kidding.
And this is Stormfront Freaks podcast. That was like the physics guy that when we first did it.
Oh, that's right. And then we've got, I want to do this too. So Garrett, Beverly, and Angela Krieger, they're also storm chasers, and they're part of our VIP team. But we always like to give them an opportunity to ask questions, because we always forget the best ones. And so I just want to open it up to those guys too, if they had any questions for you, Charles. Who wants to go?
I think y'all touched on the one I was going to talk about or ask about, with the social media side of things there, and kind of how crazy it's getting in the community, with everybody's kind of desire to to get that shot and get that video. On your side of things, are you seeing like with the Weather Channel, are they screening submissions and videos and it's like, we're just not gonna air that because it's just absolutely ridiculous what somebody did,
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, that they will. There's certain things that they're just going, okay, we're not sure about that one, but in a lot of cases, because they don't wear the Weather Channel logo, it's just then they feel like they can use something because it doesn't tie them to it. Jennifer probably can answer that better than I can. There's some chasers and some of the stuff that's done out there that I would rather us not use, but that's not my call.
Right. Right. There's a lot that's making the rest of the community look pretty bad there.
Yeah. And, and there's certain ones, this is not recorded, right?
This won't be in the audio podcast, but it still will be
live
video.
Okay.
So yes,
it is. So there's certain chasers out there that a lot of other chasers look up to, and their decisions and what they do, I think, influences a lot of others to take risks that probably is not in their best interest. Is that fair to that chaser that's that way because they're so idolized? That's probably not, but I'm afraid that still plays into everything too.
Right. Thank you.
Well said, Charles.
Angela, what do you got?
So I like to ask the well-seasoned guest on the show this question. If there was one historical weather event that you wish you could have been there for, what would it be?
For me, more probably 2013 or El Reno. Let me say El Reno, 2013. I was up in Northeast around the Tulsa area because my wife was going with me, and so I was waiting for her to get off work, and we couldn't get all the way down there. But that is just such a for a lot of reasons, just such probably one of those storms that everybody will know for 40 or 50 years. And
I bet it would have been like frightening though, because you would have been being chased by the storm rather than chasing it,
Right.
It would have been.
But it makes you wonder, what decisions would I've made in that situation? It's. I mean, you're constantly trying to evaluate yourself and get better, try to learn from everything. How would I've done? It's easy to criticize somebody else, but what would you have done differently? And
that's a good point.
That would have been the ultimate, use case to be able to see what would I have done.
Not everybody's trying to make a stupid choice. They just end up making them.
Right. Well, and sometimes just trying to decide, in that 30 seconds or 60 seconds can make a big difference, and stuff. And I've talked to, on that one, the people in the car with Bettis, as well as Mike, about that and stuff like that and how that went down, what their thought process was. And, it's not like you're intentionally trying to do something crazy, but it reminds us that, that with what we do, these storms don't, like I said earlier, most times they do what we think they're going to do, but not always. And I almost think that lulls us a little because they normally are going to do what they're supposed to do. It lulls you into that time that all of a sudden it does something different.
Serena, were you getting hungry? Did you go grab a sandwich or?
Oh, that bologna. I did grab some crackers. That bologna.
I know. I was like, I'm going to go get a bologna sandwich.
Bill, did you cover my face on purpose? What the hell, man?
Yep.
What the heck is going on?
Hide and seek here,
I know, man.
MJ in the other direction.
I'm just trying to send me some verbal cues here.
That's
hey,
right.
let's we'll makeover.
All right, so let's get ready for our segments. So hashtag Weatherfools. Now, Brady, MJ will play the video.
Yeah.
But what you'll have to do, because as soon as he plays that, it's going to mute everybody.
Yep.
So you have to unmute yourself so that as that video is kind of still playing right, near the end or whatever, you can transition, come in, and explain it and all that stuff. So just a reminder on that. And I have 5 to share.
Okay.
I can't help but to laugh.
Bill, was any
God.
of the ones that I tweeted at you, were any of those yours? I tweeted
That you
like,
tweeted at me?
yeah, I tweeted at you like a
Stop
week ago.
tweeting at me, Brady.
No, at the Freaks account. I don't know.
When did you tweet?
This was like 2 weeks ago.
Fuck. If it wasn't like 2 hours ago, I have no idea.
Okay, great.
I have no idea.
All right,
So
who else has Weather Fools?
I have the 5 from Phil, and I have 3 from Serena.
Yeah, I have 3 tonight.
I have a weather fool as well.
So is it one that MJ has to share screen and show?
Or are you going to share it yourself? Because we still can do that, but
I'm curious because I remember last time it wouldn't play, and we had that same issue with one of Phil's. Remember that?
That's because we were trying to do it and there were issues, so that's part of why we're now going to have MJ share them.
Right.
Okay, so all right,
But
then
MJ, I just sent mine in.
And I got to forward Jen's too.
MJ,
here.
do you have the private chat?
yeah, I do. Okay, but this takes me a minute here now, so.
Well, we got a minute.
Send them to me in advance. Well,
Yeah,
you didn't
sorry
know
about
this,
that.
Brady, but
Oh, sorry. I sent mine to Phil,
No,
not you.
yeah, that's okay.
sent
I'm
them to
sending
Phil,
yours
too.
now, Jen. I didn't.
and I sent
Dina.
you one as well.
Oh, you did. Okay. At 8:52 p.m. Okay.
I know.
That's
I
why
was
I missed
trying
it.
to
I missed it.
reboot
Sorry.
my computer.
And you, Dina, you're like 3 days in advance
I
sending
know.
me that stuff.
I've been really busy.
You're like the
lately.
yeah. You must be. You must be.
So Brady, I just got yours off of the.
So we don't need to share our screens.
No.
Okay.
That's
Well, that
kind of
makes
why
things
we're.
easy.
So
Okay,
MJ, I
how-
just sent you
how am I getting
Dina's
these?
and Jen's.
Thanks, MJ.
So Jen, you have how many?
I've got 2 fools, 1 resource.
Okay, Dina, how many fools?
Boy, okay.
1.
Serena,
3 fools.
we're gonna have a good
What
fool
dumb
segment
people.
God, I
tonight.
gotta keep track of this because otherwise I don't know who's. I gotta do order because otherwise I don't know because they don't show up as whose they are.
Oh, we can
So
just add them.
I'll just say this for MJ, if you guys could. So don't
You want to put
email
them in the chat?
No, email them to me and MJ because if I get them, I got to put them in the show notes, but MJ's got to obviously pull them up. So if you can get them to me and MJ 24 hours in advance, let's shoot for that, okay? Just so that
All
he
right.
can be better prepared.
And
But
who
then that
has
way we don't
weather
have to share screens.
resources?
All right, so Brady, you got that. So Serena's got 3, Dina's got 1, I've got 5, Jen has 2, and you have whatever. Nice cat there going up the side. And that's sad.
I'm still working on it here, so
That's
give me
fine.
A little bit of time.
I love Brady.
We
So
can kill some time. Let's play a little game.
WX resources. I've got 1, Dina.
Okay. Who else does have? Jen had 1,
Yes.
right? I have 1. Is that it?
Any other weather resources? Okay.
Okay, you're going too fast for me.
No,
sorry.
we're just going through those. We can come back to it. I just wanted to double check.
Now, you know what though? Weather resources, I have a hard time sharing those because I don't know what they are, or I'm not able to scroll or do things that people want to see. Do you know what
For
I mean?
mine, just put it up,
Okay.
and I'll just talk over it.
Yeah, I can do the same thing, MJ.
And mine's a video, so
Yeah, Phil, yours is a video. I got
just
that.
YouTube video.
Whose weather fool did you send me? Oh, from Dina? I thought Dina's were the. Whose are these? Oh, those are Jen's. I'm sorry.
You guys are
And then
awesome.
Dina, just a reminder, when he plays the WX Resources video, to unmute yourself so you can come in and kind of segue before it
All right,
stops.
question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Is in the message you sent me, Phil, from Dina, is that got a weather fool and a weather resource?
Yeah, I usually put them in the
does,
same
okay.
email.
Okay.
I think the first one is the weather resource, and the second
Yeah,
one
yeah.
is the weather fool.
Yeah.
We're stressing
it's
MJ
not,
out.
It's not marked.
I know.
Okay.
MJ, we love you.
Oh yeah, it's not marked. I see that, but it does say weather fools at the bottom.
Yeah, I got it. But I
Okay.
just wasn't sure if that was supposed to be. Okay. So
Let's all go to the lobby.
Yeah, the Twitter one is the weather fool.
Yep. And copy, paste. Sorry, it just takes a moment here.
Poor Brady.
So who here likes
Jennifer
baloney?
feels bad for you, Brady.
Why? Because the bologna? Oh no,
I don't
because of no, it's because
it's because of the cat.
Oh,
Everyone feels sorry for you because you enjoy cats so much.
No, I think no. It's because we're trying to censor me because my face is just too ugly to put.
No,
on.
I don't think she feels
He's
bad
got a
about
face
that.
for radio.
All right.
Oh.
Let me do a check here quick. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Whoa, what's that?
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Somebody's got the YouTube playing.
Who's playing us on YouTube?
Not me.
Not me.
Okay, all right.
Might be
That's
me.
what it seemed like.
Stop.
I've been on mute.
All right. Are you ready for info?
Are you ready?
All right.
That's the
This is what
question.
And here's a question too. Are you going to hear the sound for the weather
Oh,
fools?
that's a good question. Let me see. Phil had a sound one. It was this one, I think.
Yeah, because one of mine does need sound.
Yeah, one of mine is all about what he's saying. Yeah, I hear it.
Did you hear
Whoa!
the horn?
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so any of them that have sound, we're gonna hear.
Okay, good.
Great.
Okay, just a minute now. I gotta stop it and go back.
Was that Phil on the road?
Okay.
Okay. Dude, that was. Do you remember when we did that? That was awesome.
I was about to say I didn't see anyone with the finger up in the air in response.
Weather, all right,
Like,
weather
who's that
fools.
dirtbag?
Weather
God.
fools. I have 3 from Serena, 5 from Phil, 1 from Brady, 2 from Jen, 1 from Dina.
Yes.
Can we
That's
go
gonna
in
be a
that order?
Loaded show.
Sure. Yeah.
Wait, let me write down the order. Say that again.
Serena,
Phil,
got it.
You,
got it.
Jen,
Me.
Dina.
Got it. All right, we're good.
All right, weather resources. I have 1 from Phil, 1 from Jen, 1 from Dina.
Correct.
Can I do it in that order?
Yes.
Phil, Jen, and Dina. Yes. That's just how I wrote it down. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. And Brady, just a reminder that, and Dina, episode 187 show notes on stormfrontfreaks.com so they can get the links to them.
Okay.
And then, Dina, once you're done, I will we'll close it up.
Sweet.
Close up shop.
Close it up.
Go eat a bologna sandwich.
Oh, gross. I'm not getting anywhere
Oh,
near
please.
that
You had
bologna.
bologna growing up. It's
All right,
like
when I-
Way.
a staple.
I have honest to God never had bologna.
You know what?
Serena.
I know.
My
I know.
mom tricked me with the whatever. Go ahead, Phil.
No, I was like, bologna.
Oh.
Ah.
All right.
All right, when I
are we
come
ready?
in, when I come in, so I'll send the VIPs out now. Bye. We'll see you a little bit later. I'll leave in a moment, and then it's going to come in with the Pecos Hank sound.
The song. Yep.
song,
So it's playing the Pecos Hank song first before he'll play the clip, right?
So everybody quiet then, and then I will play the Weather Fools video, and we'll go from there.
Boom.
Okay?
Sounds good.
Got it.
All right. Just hang in there. It'll start in a moment.
Chaos. That's right. That's right, Christine. Raw is chaos. And that's what we're here for. That's what we are
Now
here
be
for.
quiet now, Brady.
Oh, sorry.
Shut the fuck up, Brady.
How many times did we tell him to shut the fuck up the other day? Oh, Lord. We love Brady, though.
Oh, God. I love you guys, too.
Poor Charles.
We love you, Charles.
Crazy group of people. Huh?
You can comment as much as you want on these too, Charles. You're part of the peanut gallery now.
Charles is like, I did not sign up for this.
This is Internet weather personality Ryan Hall, y'all, and you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Let's take a drive under the moon. Let's take a drive under the somber sky. Let's take a drive under the moon.
Woo! Welcome, everyone. This is Weather Fools. Welcome back to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. Who am I? I'm Brady. Who are we? We're the Stormfront Freaks. What segment is this? This is Weather Fools. For those that it's your first time or you're just a little forgetful, I'm a little forgetful, I know, all the time. Weather Fools, what is it? It is a segment where us as the freaks, we're going on the internet, we're going on the dark web, we're going to Clovis and searching for videos in their repository to try and find people that did something not
Was
so
that
smart.
suppository? Did you?
No.
What did you just say?
No,
I'm not doing any of the things Brady just said.
Suppository. I said, I don't know what I said, but let's just continue the segment. So we are looking for people that did something not so smart, and it deals with the weather. We have a very strict order today. Serena, you go first. Who are your weather fools?
Okay, this is a funny one because anyone else who's not this guy is the fool. He caught a double rainbow lightning, and watch at the end of this as he pans back across again. He catches a meteorite.
Way.
Boom.
Oh, no way.
That's awesome.
So this is
That is
just
a
this
trifecta.
means the rest of us are weather fools. That's all this is. I've never seen anything so cool in my life, and we're the fools. Look at that.
That is awesome.
Is
They
that not
literally
the coolest thing you've
tracked-
ever seen?
Yes.
And they,
All right.
they literally tracked with the meteor too. That's crazy.
It was
Serena,
amazing.
where was
Maybe
that
it's not
meeting?
real.
Where was that located again, Serena?
I don't know. I found it on TikTok, so that means it
Mars.
could be anywhere.
I was on
Who
Mars.
knows? You never know.
No idea. Here's the next one. So these are a bunch of guys that are fishing in Cuba, and they're having a good time. They're just fishing, right? And then it's going to pan back, and off in the distance
Oh.
is a
Time to move.
massive water spout, and they're just hanging out, like packing up their fishing gear, like nothing's going on. And like the contrast in that's beautiful. It's like one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen. And they're just, no big deal.
And their camera's on the stupid fishing dudes. It's not on the water spout.
Yeah,
like
not at
like
all.
I've
Don't
seen enough
care.
of those guys. Let's put it on the water spout.
Yeah.
Clearly not
At least
storm
they're not
chasers.
driving towards it. At least
Yeah.
they're not driving towards it.
All right, so this one we're going to need sound for. I don't know if we can turn that one on or not.
Oh my god.
But the sound
we've
is
seen
the good one.
seen this one. This is a good one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it starts, you hear the buzzing of when before the National Weather Service has issued this is a flash flood warning, and you hear it on their phones as they're standing there clutching to these trees in floodwaters. Not a good move, guys. Not a good move.
God.
We talked about this before because there's like two of them, right? There's the dude holding on, and then there's the guy filming the dude holding on.
Yeah. Why are they on their
Both of
phones?
them,
Like they're
I
about to
don't
get
know.
swept away. Like,
That
what
is
are
so
we doing
bad.
here, guys?
Yeah,
That
it's
is so bad.
incredibly dangerous. So there you go. Those are my weather fools.
Love it.
Wow. Well, Serena, those are pretty great. Phil, I understand you have several this week. Buckle up, guys. Phil's got 5.
Yeah, so I've got a few from some of our viewers, listeners. One I call "Won't Lose a Finger, but You Could Die," and this is from Billy Bowling and Nicholas Isabella, and it is a photo of fireworks on the beach. There's people on the beach watching the fireworks, and a lightning bolt going right through the fireworks.
Wow. That's
And
cool.
people are hanging on the beach. They're just like, hey, I'm watching some fireworks. And obviously, I don't know if this was a public, like city, municipality having the fireworks show, which you would think in bad weather, they would postpone it, cancel it, something
Dang.
like that. But no, there's people hanging on the beach watching fireworks and natural fireworks, and they're not going indoors. They're enjoying the light show, I guess.
That is crazy.
All right, next one I called Don't Need the Warning Horn. This comes from Luna Light, who's actually, I believe, watching. But she shared this with me, and this some storm chasers watching. They're on a dirt road watching this funnel cloud, and you can't hear it here, but there's a truck going through all the storm chasers, and they just have their horn on. They're just blaring the horn on their truck and being a jerk. Just try. You can see the white pickup truck coming there on the right,
there it goes.
and they're just laying on the horn, like not even like beep beep. It's like beep. It's just being
You always
annoying.
got that one guy.
Oh,
Annoying.
drama.
All right, next one I call Windows Don't Stop Debris. This is from 12-Step Chasing, and this is tornado in China.
Oh God!
But they're filming. Look at this debris. It's about to bust through their patio window, but they think their patio window is just no problem. Fine, I'm safe.
It's impact glass fail. What are we?
I mean, watch this. There's like a big steel something
that's a big one.
Yes.
Too.
coming. Here it comes, right there.
Like, go get it, go down. They don't even care.
I hate to acknowledge what a cool multi-vortice shot they got because that was really stupid.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I say, we're weather fools of ourselves sometimes, just what we do. But all right, this one is one of mine. I call it "Why Are You Even on the Beach?" And this is Grayton Beach, Florida, water spout. And if you just watch, there's just people hanging out on the beach as this water spout's about to make landfall. But look at the waves.
Yeah.
And it's just cloudy. It's like, why are people even on the beach right now? And now watch this in the background. You see, look at this. A mother and her child, they hit the deck.
Goes down.
They hit the beach. It makes landfall. It's kicking up, obviously debris and umbrellas and everything. And there's the mother and the child.
At the beach, though, people I've noticed that too. Like there'll be something out over the water and I'm getting up to leave and they'll just keep walking, look at it like, ain't gonna touch me. Like I'm surprised there's not some woman walking, looking at it and keeps going.
Like, do they think there's a barrier at the beach?
I don't know, but
it's not going to cross or something?
I've seen storms coming up and I'm loading up my stuff and getting the kids out of there and people could give a shit. They don't care.
It also isn't sunny out. So what are we doing here? You're not getting a tan, ladies. Just leave. What's the point?
That's why, why are they even on the beach? I don't know. All right. Last one. I just call it, I have a bat. And if you guys know the history, this is actually Reed Timmer's tweet. But you can see all these vehicles lined up under the overpass and not letting anybody else through during a hailstorm.
It's the worst.
They're not letting anybody, nope. My car is more important than anything you have or anywhere you have to go.
And the way of the world now, isn't it?
That's why
it is.
That couldn't be Reed's car because his windshield was still intact.
Oh my God,
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Well, Phil, I love that you named your weather fool. So, guys, I feel like Phil is really raising the bar here. From now on, we gotta name our weather fools. And I'm gonna name mine. Getting higher with the clouds, right? Because this weather fool is someone that is cloud surfing. He is literally surfing on a developing thunderhead. He goes up to the top and then surfs down the backside.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, this is my dream, but I'm terrified just watching it. And I don't understand how, with a plane like that, you're able to do that. But
that's amazing.
He's in a jet.
What a view.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
What plane is that? That's interesting.
I don't know.
That's so cool.
He's in
It's on a Learjet page, but it's got to be something else.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that we're a weather fool. That's might be the coolest thing I've ever
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a weather fool's out if I was in the cockpit because I would crash it to the ground. But whoever's doing that, I'm sure they're very skilled.
All right, this next one.
Is that going to be Maverick 3?
Yeah, it is.
Right. Yeah.
Jen,
now,
who are your weather fools this week?
These are mine. Okay, so this one it's sort of related to the weather, but look at this alligator. So these people, I mean, it's nice, it's warm, it's fishing.
No.
But look at the alligator, like he is aggressive.
Sucker moves.
Yeah, he does.
He's moving.
You have to
look at
everybody else is laughing
red
at
guy
him
in red.
dummy.
He's like, did you see that thing move? It's gonna totally bite his face. I bet,
as
right?
they walk towards it. What are you doing?
He's probably pissed off. There's like thunderstorm or something.
Oh my God.
Like alligators kill me. Like either have something that will eat you but stays in the water, or have something that eats you that only stays on land. But this thing
Yes.
does both.
We'll do both.
Which makes it even scarier.
That
Gators are
person looks
scary.
kind of slow.
Yeah.
I think it was survival of the fittest, and that alligator sought out the weak, and
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. And this
Oh,
one,
this
I'm
is another
sure
one.
everyone saw this, or a lot of people did, but
this is
the
crazy.
shark was so close to the shore. And that's what I don't understand. You know, like why?
It's a water
I did
fool.
I
That's
did
what
get
that
some
is.
feedback on
Hashtag
that.
water
I guess
fools.
if you see a bunch of like minnows or tiny fish that like come into the shore,
Look at that guy. He's just standing there. Like he's just like, I'll be
yeah, he's like,
fine.
I'm not
Get
gonna
out of the
move.
water. What are we doing?
Yes. They're I
Oh.
mean, oh my God.
It's a dolphin,
terrifying.
Brady. It's just a dolphin.
You know,
But
you're
that's
right.
one thing I did learn today. I learned this today. If you see a bunch of minnows and fish like swim up to you at the beach real quick,
Yeah.
those sharks are coming in to eat them.
Oh.
It's just a
So
candy
get
gram.
out of the water.
I feel like I
So get out
always
of the
see
water.
that. That's a problem.
Is it okay as long as somebody's slower than you is between you
Yeah.
and the shark?
I
Yeah.
just have to be
Oh.
faster than the other guy.
They
All
always
right,
go
so
for the
this one's
slow
mine,
push.
and you definitely need
Candygram.
a clown for this. But he's funny because I don't know if you can hear him or not, but he's talking about the snow in Colorado, and he says something like, we've got a snow skid, and then he talks about how it dumped on everything. And he doesn't realize he's talking about like skid marks and
Yeah.
dumps and stuff, and he's laughing his ass off.
Oh,
And it was just
God.
one of those things like,
That's
was he
amazing.
thinking of his laundry that day? I don't know.
I like how he says
it-
my brain melted during the
He
show at the
did.
top.
My brain, and it was funny because I kind of like that, he just went with it and laughed and didn't
He
try
owned
to
it.
just cover it up.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
a good one.
There's definitely a little personal connection there. You don't just come up. That isn't just in the back of your mind.
He was gonna have to do his laundry day.
Yeah, for sure.
True.
Well, cool guys. Any more weather fools from the freaks? All right,
Thank
good.
you.
All right. Well, if you want to see these and more, go to stormfrontfreaks.com. Look for show 187 for these links and more.
That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I
Oh, I love WX Resources, and I feel like we haven't done this one in a while, and I kind of like this because, I have to look at weather resources every single day of my life. And it's pretty much one of those things where, like, we tell everybody some, like, cool website or some cool app or something where you can get good weather data or just any good weather information. And, Phil, I think you have one, right?
I do. So if you guys know Aaron J. Jack, he's been on our show before, Storm Chaser. He's been doing some amazing 360 stuff. And this is on YouTube, but he did a 360 video recently of the Didsbury, Alberta EF4 tornado.
Oh.
And you can actually, I don't know, MJ, if you can kind of move the video screen. Does it allow you to use the cursor on the video screen itself and move that around? It does not.
Trying.
And,
Yeah,
well,
there it
and,
goes.
and
There we
Phil,
go.
There you go.
And Phil,
So-
you can actually, if you have a VR headset, you can actually put the VR
Right.
headset on. And
Yeah.
I
So-
watched one of his. It was crazy.
Yeah, so it is.
That's
So as Brady talked about, if you have any kind of a VR headset, you can even get really cheap ones that are made out of cardboard that you can put your phone in and then put to your eyes like binoculars, and you can see it in basically 3D. But as you move around, the video itself moves around 360, and it seems like you're right in it. But I mentioned that this looks so cool when I was just watching on my phone, because you can move your phone left, right, up, down, and it basically, it sees the whole image. And it was an amazing tornado. Very cool.
That's
Yeah.
a great one.
I
Yeah.
feel like
And-
any teacher, professor could like spend a whole week, examining and teaching the inner workings of that.
Yeah.
And he wasn't, and I'll say this too quick. It was the initiation of the tornado. So you saw it from the funnel to the
Yeah.
whole thing. It was really special.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
And
Jen,
Dan Wallace, I think, did something similar
He
for our
did.
trip.
He
Actually,
did.
you can go rewatch our, when we saw our first tornado, you can see that too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Jen, I think this next one is yours, right?
It is. And I love this. And I'm kind of bringing it up just for, with all the smoke that we've been experiencing, unfortunately, from wildfires, that the wind has brought down, from Canada and just other places. I love this. And I think we've maybe mentioned it, a couple years ago in the past, but it's something to bring up because they always improve it. But what you can do on the right-hand side is you can do like rain and thunder. You can overlay temperatures, clouds. You can do model data on top of it as well. So you see what the wind is looking like and then layering that on top. And at the bottom, you can look at all the models and the her. I mean, you can do it all. So this is a great way. Like, I'm a visual learner myself. So this is a great way to visualize what's currently going on and what's going on in the future, what's going to happen in the future. I think this is one of my favorite things to look at. Yes, I look at the models. I look at BuffKit too. But this is one of the ones that I absolutely love to just visually see and look at. It's like eye candy for a meteorologist.
I swear to God, you just we were on the same wavelength because you were talking about this, and then my weather resource was about smoke.
Yes.
We were just talking about it.
Wow.
And this
Man,
is a new
cool.
one I just discovered recently, and it's from Canada. So we don't even have Greg here, but it's a ground level smoke, and at the bottom you can actually loop through it and see it, and it's actually a pretty good model for this. So you get the particulates and everything, but it's a new one that I just found recently myself from Canada. And it's weather.gc.ca, and it's got a little bit of a longer part of it after that, but you'll be able to find all these on the show 187 show notes on the stormfrontfreaks.com. So if you want to look at the wind, you've got Jen's. If you want to look at the smoke, you got mine. And that worked out well.
That's good stuff. Good job, guys.
Cool.
That's cool. So, hey, that just about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks Live. Thanks for tuning in. Before we announce the guest of our next episode, I have a favor to ask all of you. If you like our show, hit the follow, subscribe button, and help us by sharing your favorite episode either on social media and or with a friend. Go ahead and share. Go ahead and share us. We like
Shout
to be
it from the
shared.
mountaintops.
This is obviously your favorite one, everybody. Just
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Come on, people.
So let's go around the horn and find out, freaks, how people can follow you. Brady, I will start with you.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter, and I was making TikToks, but I don't do it anymore. At Brady Harris or at Brady WX.
Wow, if you didn't catch that, I guess look on the show notes.
Just look on the show notes.
Jen, how about you?
Yes,
too many high
TikTok,
names.
Instagram, and Threads now. Jennifer Weather, and then Twitter is at jwatson_WX.
Sweet. All right, Dina.
For Twitter, I'm LadyPilot70, and on Instagram, I'm Dina OSU.
Cool. Serena?
For TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of those things.
She's everything.
Twitter.
She's everything. She's got it all, baby.
Got it all, baby. It's WX Serena. So WXCYRENA. You can always get the weather story online anywhere online books are sold.
Cool. And I'm usually just search Stormfront Freaks on whatever social media platform. Some of them we use, some we don't, but we probably have an account. I think we just added Threads. We added WX Social, I think was one. We're just getting ready, I guess, for Twitter to break down and die. Apparently is what we're doing. But we're all over the place. So whatever social media platform you're on, unless it's AOL, just search Stormfront Freaks. You'll find us there. I want to shout out special thanks to our guest, Charles Peak. Charles, great job tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
Had a lot of fun, so thanks for spending the time. Our next episode, get this, gang, we've got Hurricane Hunter, a National Weather Service meteorologist. Amaryllis Cotto is joining us in the studio. Stormfront Freaks will be live Thursday, July 20th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. And you can find us on YouTube, and the audio podcast will be available that weekend. So for Jen and Dina, Serena, Charles, and Brady, I think we still have Garrett and Angela in the green room, and MJ. I'm going to go ahead and signal the all clear, and we will catch you guys next time. So good night, everybody. Peace.
Night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. You can watch our bi-weekly show live on youtube.com/StormfrontFreaks and download the audio version on your favorite podcast player. For links to our Patreon team of exclusive benefits, show notes, past shows, new videos, merchandise, and more, visit our website at stormfrontfreaks.com. While you're there, check out our interactive chaser radar from our friends at zoomradar.com. If you'd like to contact us with questions or make comments about the show, shoot us an email to questions@stormfrontfreaks.com or follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Search for Stormfront Freaks. We'd love to hear from you. Join us next time and tell a friend about the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
And Threads now, I guess, huh? And WX Social. Now I'm going to have to add all those too.
MJ, I love hearing your voice, just so you know it. I love hearing your voice. It's so great at the end.
All right, he can take over. I'm done. I'll go behind the scenes. I'll go behind. I'm kidding. All right. So anyway, Charles, great job. I want to cover Threads. Is this legit? Like, is this really? Because everyone's talking about the next thing after Twitter, and everyone's trying to get rid of Twitter, and I don't think Twitter's probably going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
But is Threads legit? That's what I want to know.
It is legit. And so one of the best things you can do from an awareness standpoint is like what you did last night, Phil. Like, it released yesterday. And so if you get on early, you're going to have the most followers. Threads isn't going away either. I mean, it's amazing how many people have already jumped on. I don't think Twitter is going away either, but people are frustrated with Twitter and everything that's been going on since, we're still on live, aren't we?
Elon bought them?
Yeah. So,
Elon, you're not saying anything people don't already know.
Yeah. I'm like, oh gosh, what did I say? But so the thing is, the smartest thing you can do is at least grab your name, which is like your handle. Make sure you grab that. Which
I'm going to grab Phil Johnson right now.
Right now, do it. Do it.
Yeah, I haven't set that up yet, Brady. So help yourself.
But the thing is, just go ahead and get on there and it's like Twitter. Very obviously very similar competition and everything else. But just go there and just start. Whatever you're going to post on Twitter, post on there too. Obviously, try and vary it up a little bit. But get on there early. One of the best things you can do from a social media standpoint is be one of the first adapters to it. Learn it better than everyone else. Do it better than everyone else. Like for our podcast, the fact that Phil jumped on it last night and I was like, oh my God, I saw Stormfront Freaks on there. Is that, our podcast could get a really huge following because we're one of the first people. People are like, what's going on there? They'll click on the links and everything else. So
I got to figure out how to use it.
I shared the show on there. I shared the show.
Yes, you did, nice. Charles. I saw that you did that. And Charles, I shared it while we were live and I forgot to link you. So I need to. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry, Charles. I'll do another one.
So what is it? Is it the little black and white @ symbol thing? Is that what it is?
Yep. It's part of Instagram, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. So go through it like
crazy.
Yeah, you should be able to open Instagram and see at the top where it says, do you want to join Threads? And so you go through that. It took me literally 30 seconds. And I know, Phil, we have over 130 followers already on Stormfront Freaks, and I'm over 800 in just a day.
Jen, I got a question for you because I wasn't smart enough to have the same name for everything.
Yeah.
But it wants to log me in as Instagram, which is different than Twitter, but I'd rather keep it as the Twitter.
Yeah.
So it says switch accounts, but I don't see how you switch an account.
No, Threads is different than it's.
Can you make a new one?
Yeah. I think, let's see. I didn't
go in on Instagram before you do that. You can change what your name is on Instagram.
Instagram, right.
Yeah.
And change it to what you want it to be and then do your Threads and it would all be the same.
And I think
I can go on Instagram and change my name.
Change your username.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as it's not used by somebody else.
It's not used by somebody else under your profile.
I'm Lady Pilot on Instagram.
Ooh, sorry.
It's Serena.
Yeah.
But no, I think
I'm
they're
Dina
also
Knightley,
working on
so
ways to be able to change it. Dina.
You're not that cool, Brady.
Damn, she's right.
Is this wrong to say? Are any of y'all almost getting social media overload?
Yes.
Fuck
Oh, God.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know if I'm old and I don't do all this stuff that way.
No. Charles, my
nature
friends
of our-
like they communicate through social media, and I can't take it anymore. I've just like started deleting all my apps because I'm like, I just can't do it. Just call me, or text me.
I know.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. And I do this like for a living too, and I'm exhausted. I'm like, I don't know how, I mean, I do it, but
I mean, we
struggle
have
with my
to.
own.
Like, if I wasn't in this business, I might keep one thing just to talk to my friends from school, and that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm old and I'm showing my age, but I just
So Threads seems to work sort of like Twitter, but it like when I go to, I'm like getting tons of stuff, and it seems a little wonky.
It's still
It's a
raw
beta.
because there's not there's no
Interesting.
hashtags. There's no ability to change whose feeds you see or anything like that. So
Ooh, and
They don't
I
have
see under
searchable
my
hashtags
Instagram,
yet.
there's a like
no
if you go to
hashtags.
the
Which
settings.
I hate hashtags anyway.
Yeah, well, I still use them anyway because it will become eventually searchable. But the thing is, I mean, it's being beta tested right now, so it will be wonky.
Jennifer,
But just-
you can do a Threads for Dummies book.
there you
Oh
go.
my God, I will try and make it happen. A bunch of my like marketer friends are just like, every time like something like this happens, after like a week or so, you've got these people who have these courses on Threads. They try and sell it for like $10 or whatever because they're experts because they've used it for a week.
Oh,
So-
Garrett, there you go, buddy. That's Threads for experts. Take
Yes.
advantage now. Put something
Yes.
together. Put a 5-page book together. Sell it for $10 and
Yep.
Yes.
Quick, right?
We'll just make a thread
Yep.
about it.
But I do
Yeah.
see an Instagram thing. If you go to the settings, there is a Threads. It says new.
Yes.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
I just
All right, I'm going to end the live broadcast. Say goodbye to our
all right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, live,
All right,
live
bye.
viewers.
Thanks,
Bye,
Charles.
live viewers. So,